The big spaceship called Harmony's Voice floated in space like a metal city. Inside, hundreds of aliens from different worlds walked through bright halls. Their skin was blue, green, silver, and colors that humans had no names for. Some had 4 arms, others had no arms at all. Some walked on legs, others floated in the air. Lee Dae-ho stood near a large window watching smaller ships arrive. He was a human engineer from Earth. His black hair was cut short and neat. He wore a simple blue uniform with Earth's flag on his shoulder. Next to him stood Park So-min, a woman with kind eyes who studied alien life forms for Earth's science. Teams. Look at all of them, So-min said softly. So many different species. Dae-ho nodded. And they all think they're better than us. This was the big day. Once every year, all the smart species in the galaxy came together for the technology show. Each species would show off their best inventions. The winners got respect, trade deals, and the right to say they were the smartest in the galaxy. The humans had been invited for the first time. Earth had only been part of the Galactic Council for 200 years. That was nothing compared to species that had been traveling space for thousands of years. In the main hall, thousands of beings sat in chairs made for their different body types. The ceiling was so high it looked like sky. Giant screens showed each presentation for everyone to see. The Vorthon went first. They were tall, thin beings with purple skin and 3 eyes. Their leader, a female named Keth Ara, stood on the stage. She held up a small metal ball. "This gravity control device can make any object weightless," she said. Her voice came out as music, but the translation machines made it sound like normal speech. "It took us 3,000 years to perfect." The crowd made impressed sounds. The metal ball floated in the air, spinning slowly. Then it made a chair float, then a whole table. Everyone clapped with whatever body parts they used for clapping. Next came the Kalari. They looked like walking crystals that caught light and threw it back in rainbow colors. Their science leader, Veltar, carried what looked like a clear cube. "This quantum computer can solve any math problem in the universe," Veltar announced. His crystal body flashed different colors as he spoke. "It can think faster than 1,000,000 normal brains working together." The cube lit up and showed complex equations floating in the air. Numbers and symbols moved so fast they looked like shooting stars. The alien crowd was amazed. The Thraxians came next. They were bug-like creatures with hard shells and many legs. They brought a small ship that looked alive. It was green and seemed to breathe. "Our bioships can heal themselves," the Thraxian captain explained. "If something breaks, the ship grows back the missing part, like how your body heals a cut." To prove it, they shot a small hole in the ship's side. Everyone watched as the hole closed up like it was never there. More impressive sounds filled the hall. One by one, each species showed amazing inventions. Force fields that could stop anything. Machines that could make food from air. Weapons that could destroy asteroids. Each invention seemed impossible to the humans. Finally, it was Earth's turn. Dae-ho walked onto the big stage. The lights were bright and hot. Thousands of alien eyes watched him. Many of those eyes looked bored or amused. Some aliens whispered to each other and pointed at him. "Hello everyone," Dae-ho said into the microphone. "I'm Lee Dae-ho from Earth. Today I want to show you something we humans have been working on." He held up what looked like a simple metal tube. It was about as long as a water bottle and just as wide. It had no flashing lights, no moving parts, no fancy decorations. It looked plain and boring next to all the other amazing inventions. "This device," Dae-ho continued, "can make any environment safe for any living being. Any species can survive anywhere with this." The hall became quiet. Then someone laughed. Then more beings laughed. The sound grew louder until it filled the whole space. Ambassador Veltar stood up from his seat. His crystal body flashed red, which meant he was angry or amused. Maybe both. "Young human," Veltar said, his voice carrying across the hall without a microphone. "That is impossible. My people, the Kalari, have spent 4,000 years working on environment control. Our best scientists say such a device cannot exist." More aliens stood up and made agreement sounds. A Vorthan female named Scythella floated Into the air. Humans are still new to space, she said. Your species has barely left your homeworld. How can you do what we cannot? A large creature that looked like a walking rock spoke up. Earth is a dangerous world. Maybe the harsh environment has damaged their thinking. The laughter got louder. Some aliens pointed at Deho and made jokes in their own languages. The translation machines couldn't keep up with all the different voices. Park So-min walked onto the stage to stand next to her friend. Dr. Kang Hye-jin, the head of Earth's science team, joined them. She was a small woman with gray hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Ambassador Veltar, Dr. Kang said calmly. Would you like to test our claim? The laughter stopped. Veltar's crystal body flashed different colors quickly. Test it? How? Choose. The most dangerous world you know, Dr. Kang replied. A place where no one can live. We will prove our device works there. The hall became very quiet. Aliens looked at each other with surprise. No species had ever made such a bold claim before. Veltar spoke with other Kalari in their musical language. Other alien leaders joined, private conversations. Finally, Veltar stood up again. Very well, humans. We choose Kepler 402c. Gasps filled the hall. Even the humans looked worried. Kepler 402c was famous throughout the galaxy as the impossible world. It was a planet so dangerous that even thinking about landing there was considered crazy. That world has gravity 3 times normal, Veltar continued. The air pressure would crush most beings. The temperature changes from freezing cold to burning hot. The atmosphere is made of poison gas. The ground shakes constantly. No species has ever survived there for more than a few minutes, even with the best protection suits. He paused and looked directly at Deho. If your device can make that world safe, we will admit that humans are not as primitive as we thought. But when it fails, Earth will never be invited to this gathering again. Dr. Kang stepped forward. And if we succeed? Then we will apologize to your species and give you the respect of equals. The deal was made. The humans had 72 hours to prove their impossible claim on the most dangerous world in known space. As the Great Hall emptied, aliens whispered excitedly about the coming test. Most thought the humans were about to make fools of themselves in front of the entire galaxy. But some of the older, wiser beings noticed something. The humans didn't look scared. They looked determined. Deho held the simple metal device in his hands and smiled. So-min, he said to his friend, I think we're about to teach the galaxy something new about humans. What's that? She asked. Never. Tell a human something can't be done. We'll just take it as a challenge. The test would begin tomorrow. The impossible world waited, and the humans were ready to show the galaxy what Earth's children could really do. The ship Explorer's Hope dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Kepler 442c. Through the windows, everyone could see the nightmare world below. The planet looked angry. Red and black clouds swirled around it like a storm that never ended. Lightning flashed constantly, making the whole planet blink like a warning light. Commander Yoon Jin-woo sat in the captain's chair of the human ship. He was a calm man with steady hands and eyes that saw everything. Behind him stood his team, Kim Min-seo, who knew everything about air and weather, Choi Tae-min, who understood rocks and ground, and Seo Na-young, who studied how life worked. First, time seeing the impossible world? Jin-woo asked his team. It looks worse than the pictures, Min-seo said quietly. She checked her instruments. The storms are huge, wind speeds over 300 kilometers per hour. The whole planet is shaking, Tae-min added, watching his screens. Earthquakes every few minutes, some big enough to level cities. Na-young looked pale but determined. The air readings are terrible. Methane, ammonia, sulfur compounds. One breath would kill most species instantly. Next to the human ship, 3 larger alien vessels floated in space. They were filled with observers from dozens of different species. Everyone wanted to see if the humans would succeed or fail in spectacular fashion. On the main alien ship, Ambassador Veltar stood in the observation deck. His crystal body flashed nervous colors as he watched the planet below. Other alien leaders stood with him. "They cannot possibly survive down there," said Captain Jelvak, a Thraxian with hard shell armor. "My people are tough, but even we would need massive protection suits on that world." "The gravity alone will crush them," added Science Minister Cartharon from the Vorthan Collective. His three eyes calculated numbers on floating screens. 3 times normal gravity means everything weighs 3 times more. A human who weighs 70 kilograms will feel like they weigh 210 kilograms. "And the temperature changes," whispered Dr. Zalantha, a snake-like being from a cold world. "From minus 80 degrees to plus 150 degrees. The temperature swings would kill them before the poison air did." All the aliens wore special suits inside their ships, even though they were still in space. The suits would protect them if something went wrong. Each suit cost more than most species spent on their entire space programs. Down in the human ship, things were different. The humans wore light gray suits that looked simple and cheap. No thick armor, no heavy breathing tanks, no massive life support systems. They looked like they were going for a walk in a park, not landing on the most dangerous world in the galaxy. "Everyone ready?" Commander Jinwoo asked his team. "Ready, sir," they all answered. "Alien observers, this is Commander Yoon Jinwoo," he said into his radio. "We are beginning our descent to the planet's surface." "Human ship, this is Ambassador." "Feltar," came the reply. "Are you certain you want to do this?" "No shame in admitting this task is impossible," Jinwoo smiled. "Thank you for your concern, Ambassador. But we humans don't believe in impossible. We'll see you on the surface." The human ship entered the planet's atmosphere. Immediately, everything went crazy. The ship shook like it was being attacked by giant fists. Lightning hit the hull again and again. The storm winds tried to push them off course. Inside the alien ships, the observers watched in horror. The human ship looked tiny as it fought through the violent storm clouds. "They're going to crash," Jelvak said. "No ship that small can handle those conditions." But Commander Jinwoo had flown through Earth's worst storms. Hurricanes, tornadoes, volcanic ash clouds that could destroy engines. This was bad, but he had seen worse. "Just like flying through a typhoon," he told his crew calmly. "Hold on, everyone." The human ship broke through the clouds and approached the surface. What they saw below was even worse than the storms above. The ground was cracked and broken. Rivers of lava flowed between black rocks. Geysers of poison gas shot up from holes in the ground. Everything was moving, shaking, changing. "Landing site selected," announced Mincio. "Flat area near those rock formations. Should be stable for at least a few hours." "Define stable," Taemin said, watching his earthquake sensors go crazy. "The ground there only moves up and down by 2 meters every few minutes." Jinwoo laughed. "Sounds perfect. Taking us down." The alien ships followed at a safe distance. They watched as the human ship landed on what looked like the surface of hell itself. Steam and smoke rose around the landing site. The ground glowed red hot in some places. "They landed," Feltar said in amazement. "I cannot believe they actually landed." "Landing is the easy part," Cartharon replied. "Now they have to survive outside their ship." The human ship's door opened. Steam poured out as the inside air met the outside atmosphere. The alien observers held their breath, waiting to see what would happen. Commander Jinwoo stepped out first. He wore his simple gray suit and a basic helmet. No heavy armor, no massive air tanks, no powered assistance systems. He looked around at the hellish landscape and nodded. "Not bad," he said into his radio. "Reminds me of the volcanic fields back on Earth." One by one, his team joined him outside the ship. Mincio carried her weather instruments. Taemin had his geological scanners. Nayoung brought her biological testing equipment. They all looked calm, like they were taking a nature walk. "This is impossible," Jelvak whispered. "They should be dead already." But the humans weren't dead, they were working. Jinwoo pulled out the simple metal device that Daeho had shown at the technology summit. It was still just a plain tube with no fancy decorations. "Activating the environment adapter," Jinwoo announced. He pressed a button on the side of the device. It began to hum quietly, so softly that the alien observers could barely hear it through their radio systems. A faint shimmer appeared in the air around the humans, like heat waves rising from hot pavement. "Is that it?" asked Dr. Zealantha. "That tiny field?" "The power readings are almost nothing," Cothran reported, checking his instruments. "Whatever that device is doing, it's not using much energy." Then something amazing happened. The air around the humans began to change. Not all at once, but slowly, like watching ice melt. The poison clouds moved away from them. The crushing pressure seemed to lighten. Even the ground stopped shaking so violently in the area where they stood. "Atmospheric readings are changing," Minseo reported. "Oxygen levels rising. Toxic compounds decreasing. Pressure dropping to normal levels. Temperature stabilizing," added Taemin. "Gravity feels almost normal now. Biological scanners show safe conditions for most known species," Nayoung finished. The alien observers couldn't believe what they were seeing. The humans had created a bubble of normal, safe environment on the most dangerous world in the galaxy. And they had done it with a device the size of a water bottle. "I need to see this for myself," Veltar declared. "Take us down." "Sir, are you certain?" his pilot asked. "If their device fails, then we will die learning something new," Veltar replied. "Sometimes knowledge is worth the risk." The alien ships landed near the human ship. The alien observers put on their heaviest protection suits, activated their strongest force fields, and prepared their emergency medical systems. Then they stepped out onto the surface of the impossible world. To their amazement, they could breathe. The crushing gravity didn't crush them. The poison air didn't poison them. The deadly heat didn't kill them. They were standing comfortably on a world that should have killed them instantly. "How?" Veltar asked, his crystal body flashing colors of confusion and wonder. Commander Jinwoo smiled and pointed to the simple device. "Human engineering, Ambassador. We learned long ago that the best solutions are usually the simple ones. But what does it do exactly?" "It doesn't change the planet," explained Nayoung. "It changes how your body interacts with the planet. Your lungs can now process this atmosphere. Your body can now handle this gravity. Your cells can now survive these temperature changes." The alien observers looked around in wonder. They were walking on the impossible world like it was their home planet. Children could play here safely under the device's influence. "This changes everything," whispered Cothran. "If this technology works, any species can live anywhere." Jinwoo nodded. "That's the idea. No more impossible worlds. No more places where life cannot exist." As the alien observers began to understand what they were witnessing, they realized something important. The humans hadn't just solved a technological problem. They had made the impossible possible. And if they could do this, what else could they do? Ambassador Veltar stood on the surface of Kepler 442c without his heavy protection suit. For the first time in his long life, he was breathing the air of an alien world with his own lungs. Around him, other alien observers were doing the same. "Impossible thing. This cannot be real," he said, touching his crystal face with trembling fingers. "I should be dead. We should all be dead." Dr. Lim Jae-seok stepped forward. He was a human bioengineer with kind eyes and gentle hands. In his simple gray suit, he looked like any ordinary person, but what he was about to explain would change how the galaxy understood life itself. "Ambassador Veltar," Jae-seok said politely, "would you like to understand how our device works?" The crystal being's body flashed bright blue, the color of intense curiosity among his people. "Yes, human. Tell me how you have done the impossible." Other aliens gathered around. Captain Jelvak's hard shell clicked as he moved closer. Science Minister Kothran floated down from where he had been testing the air with his instruments. Dr. Zelantha slithered over, her snake-like body moving easily in the changed gravity. "The device does not change the planet," Jae-seok explained, holding up the simple metal tube. "It changes you." "Changes us how?" asked Jelvak. "Your body is like a machine," Jae-seok continued. "It has many parts that work together. Lungs that breathe air, hearts that pump blood, bones that support weight. Our device tells your body how to change these parts to work with any environment. Kothron's 3 eyes blinked in sequence. Impossible. Biological systems cannot change that quickly. Evolution takes millions of years. Bei Sung-ho joined the conversation. He was the team's quantum physicist, a young man who understood the deepest secrets of how matter and energy work together. Minister Kothron, you are thinking like a computer. We learned to think like life itself. He activated a small screen that showed complex diagrams. The aliens leaned in to look, even though the symbols meant nothing to them. Every living thing has instructions written in their cells, Sung-ho explained. These instructions tell the body how to work. But most species only use a small part of these instructions. The rest stay hidden, waiting. Waiting for what? Veltar asked. Waiting for the right signal to wake up. Dr. Xylantha raised her head, her cold world instincts making her suspicious. What kind of signal? The signal that says change or die, Jasoc answered. Our device finds the hidden instructions in your cells and wakes them up. It tells your body to use abilities you already have but forgot about. To prove his point, Jasoc led the group toward a lake of liquid methane. The liquid was bright green and bubbled like boiling water. Poisonous gas rose from its surface. This lake would kill any of us instantly under normal conditions, he said calmly. The aliens backed away, their survival instincts screaming danger. But Seo Na-young, the human biotechnician, walked right up to the lake's edge. She knelt down and put her hand into the liquid methane. No, shouted Jelvak. You will die. But Na-young didn't die. She cupped the methane in her hands and lifted it up. The liquid that should have frozen her flesh solid felt like warm water to her. The device changed how my cells work with methane, she explained. My skin can now touch it safely. My body temperature can handle the cold. If I needed to, I could even drink this and my stomach would process it like water. The aliens stared in complete shock. Science Minister Kothron's calculating mind worked frantically. The computational power needed for such real-time biological adaptation, he muttered, his voice full of awe. It would require quantum processing beyond our most advanced systems. Our best computers cannot handle such complex calculations. That's because you're trying to calculate what life does naturally, replied Sung-ho. You don't need to compute evolution. You just need to remember it. To demonstrate further, Commander Jin Woo led the group toward the most dangerous area of the planet. In the distance, they could see active volcanoes shooting lava high into the air. The ground there glowed red-hot and the temperature readings showed numbers that would melt most metals. Surely you cannot survive there, said Dr. Xylantha. Even your device has limits. Let's find out, Jin Woo replied with a smile. The whole group walked toward the volcanic field. As they got closer, the heat became intense. The alien observers expected to feel the burning, but instead, they felt comfortable. More than comfortable. They felt energized. I feel stronger, Veltar said in amazement. The heat is giving me energy instead of killing me. Your crystal body is now absorbing thermal energy and converting it to useful power, explained Na-young. Just like how plants on many worlds absorb sunlight. Lieutenant Commander Zeeth, an amphibious being from a water world, made excited clicking sounds. My gills are processing the volcanic gases like they were pure oxygen. This is impossible. Not impossible, corrected Jasoc, gently, just unexpected. Your body already had the ability to adapt. It just needed permission to use it. The group stood in the middle of the volcanic field, where temperatures exceeded 200 degrees Celsius. Poisonous gases swirled around them. The ground shook with constant earthquakes, and they were all not just surviving, they were thriving. Your species, Veltar said slowly, his crystal body now glowing with absorbed heat energy. You are not like the rest of us. How so? Asked Jin Woo. We evolved on stable worlds. Worlds with steady temperatures, safe atmospheres, predictable conditions. We became specialized for our home environments. The Crystal Ambassador looked around at the hellish landscape where he now stood comfortably. But you come from a world that tried to kill you. a world that never stayed the same. You had to learn to adapt to anything or die. Earth is a challenging place, admitted Jin Wu. Ice ages, volcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, climate changes. Our planet taught us to be flexible. More than flexible, whispered Kothran. You are adaptable beyond anything we thought possible. Research Director Kolmesh of the Kalari Science Council activated his most advanced scanners. He had been quietly studying the humans since they landed. What he found defied everything his people thought they knew about biology. I am reading your genetic structures, he announced. They are remarkable. You have backup systems for your backup systems, redundant biological pathways, adaptive sequences that activate under stress. He paused, checking his readings again. Your neural patterns show constant adaptation and growth. Your bodies are designed to change when needed. This is not normal. Evolution. This is survival evolution. What does that mean? Asked Dr. Xylantha. It means, said Kolmesh quietly, that humans are not using technology to survive here. The technology is just helping us access what they can already do naturally. The alien observers looked at the humans with new understanding. These weren't primitive beings who had gotten lucky with one invention. These were creatures who had been forged by millions of years of constant challenge into something unique in the galaxy. We have made a terrible mistake, Veltar said finally. We called you primitive because you are young, but youth is not the same as weakness. Jinwu nodded respectfully. We don't consider ourselves better than anyone else, Ambassador. We're just persistently adaptable. When your world keeps trying to kill you, you learn to be creative about staying alive. As if to prove his point, engineer Park Du-young began setting up equipment to build a permanent shelter using materials from the volcanic field. Geologist Kim Hae-won started testing ways to extract useful resources from the poisonous soil. Biochemist Lee So-ra began experimenting with turning the planet's toxic compounds into food. The aliens watched in fascination as the humans turned the impossible world into a place where people could live and work. Within hours, they had established the foundation of a thriving colony. This is not just survival, observed Jelvak. This is mastery. Every problem is just a puzzle waiting to be solved, replied Du-young cheerfully as he assembled a structure that would have taken other species months to design. As the first day on the impossible world came to an end, the alien observers realized they had witnessed something that would change the galaxy forever. The humans hadn't just proven their technology worked, they had proven that the word impossible meant something very different to a species that had learned to adapt or die. Captain Osubin arrived on the second day with more humans and supplies. She was a tall woman with confident eyes who had seen many worlds in her travels. Behind her came Dr. Han Ye-rim, who studied how life changed over time, and engineer No Yunji, who specialized in making new homes on difficult planets. The alien observers had spent the night in temporary shelters that the humans built from local materials. They woke up feeling better than they had ever felt on an alien world. The adaptation field had changed them in ways they were still discovering. I slept perfectly, said Ambassador Veltar, his crystal body glowing with health. On my own world, I need special sleeping chambers. Here I slept on the ground and felt wonderful. The volcanic gases are actually good for my breathing, added Dr. Xylantha. My lung capacity has increased by 30%. Captain Osubin gathered everyone around a simple campfire. The flames were blue-green because they burned methane from the planet's atmosphere. To the aliens, it looked magical. To the humans, it was just another campfire. You want to know the real truth about humans? Subin asked the alien group. Dr. Han, tell them about Earth. Dr. Han Ye-rim stood up. She was a small woman with silver hair and gentle hands. But when she spoke, her voice carried the weight of millions of years of history. Earth tried to kill us for a very long time, she began. Not because it was evil, but because it was alive and changing. Always changing. She activated a portable display that showed pictures of Earth through time. The aliens saw a world that looked completely different in each image. Ice. Ages that lasted thousands of years, Dr. Han continued. Our ancestors had to survive when most of the planet was covered in ice. temperatures so cold that water turned solid for generations. The next image showed massive volcanoes erupting, supervolcanoes that covered the sky with ash and blocked out the sun for years. Our people had to find food in darkness and learn to keep warm without sunlight. More images followed. Massive storms, floods, droughts, earthquakes, meteor impacts. Every few thousand years, something tried to wipe us out completely. Diseases that killed 9 out of every 10 people. Animals that hunted us. Plants that poisoned us, weather that changed without warning. Ambassador Veltar watched the images with growing amazement. How did your species survive all of this? We learned, Dr. Han replied simply. Every challenge taught us something new. Every disaster made us stronger. Every impossible situation forced us to adapt or die. She showed new images. Humans living. In deserts, in frozen wastelands, on mountains, underwater, in caves. We learned to live everywhere on our planet. Hot places, cold places, wet places, dry places. Underground, underwater, high in the sky. If a place existed on Earth, humans found a way to live there. Research Director Kolmesh activated his scanners again, this time focusing on Dr. Han herself. What he found made him gasp. Your neural pathways, he said in wonder. They show adaptation, patterns that should take generations to develop. But you have them naturally. Of course we do, laughed engineer No Yunji. Our brains had to learn to solve new problems constantly. Static thinking meant death on Earth. She pointed to the thriving camp the humans had built around them. In less than 2 days, they had created a place where dozens of different species could live comfortably on the most dangerous world in the galaxy. This is normal for us, Yunji explained. See a problem, solve the problem, move to the next problem. We've been doing this for millions of years. Captain Subin walked over to a device that was turning the planet's poisonous soil into clean water. Every human learns basic survival skills as children. How to find water, how to make shelter, how to adapt when things go wrong. But you live on advanced worlds now, protested Science Minister Kothran. Surely you don't need these skills anymore. Dr. Han smiled sadly. Minister, humans still live in all the dangerous places on Earth. We have cities and deserts where the temperature reaches 60 degrees. We have research stations in Antarctica where it gets to -80 degrees. We have people living underwater and others living on the sides of active volcanoes. She gestured to the volcanic landscape around them. This world reminds us of home, dangerous, unpredictable, trying to kill us, but also beautiful and full of possibilities. Lieutenant Commander Zeeth made excited clicking sounds. You choose to live in dangerous places? We don't see them as dangerous, replied Subin. We see them as challenges. Every impossible place is just a puzzle waiting for the right solution. Engineer Park Do-young demonstrated by showing them a garden he had started. Earth plants were growing in soil made from volcanic ash and methane compounds. The alien observers couldn't believe that anything could live in such conditions. These plants are from Earth's most extreme environments, Do-young explained. Some grow near underwater volcanoes. Others live in acid lakes. We brought them because we knew they would thrive here. Your entire planet is a death world, whispered Jelvak in realization. Not just difficult, actively hostile to life. And yet we have more different types of life than most worlds in the galaxy, added Dr. Han. Millions of species, all competing, all adapting, all changing. Earth doesn't just support life, it creates life that can survive anywhere. The alien observers began to understand something profound. They had thought humans were primitive because they were young. But humans weren't primitive at all. They were evolved beyond anything the galaxy had seen before. Your adaptation device, said Veltar slowly, it doesn't give us new abilities. It awakens abilities we already had but lost. Exactly, confirmed Dr. Lim Jae-seok. Every species in the galaxy came from worlds that challenged them. Your ancestors had to adapt and change to survive, but then your worlds became safe and stable. You forgot how to change. We never got that luxury, added Captain Subin. Earth never became safe. It's still trying to kill us, so we never stopped learning how to adapt. As the day progressed, more humans arrived with advanced equipment. But what amazed the aliens most was how little the humans needed their technology. Engineer Kim Hae-won built a water purification system using rocks and plants. Biochemist Lee Sora created medicine from local minerals. Coordinator John Mi-kyung organized a complex supply system using nothing but careful planning. "You don't depend on your technology," observed Kolmesh. "You use it. But you don't need it to survive." "Technology fails," replied Hae-won simply. "But knowledge and adaptability last forever." As the second day ended, the alien observers realized they were witnessing something historic. The humans had not only survived on the impossible world, they had made it home. But more than that, they had proven that the galaxy's understanding of evolution, adaptation, and survival was incomplete. There was another way to develop as a species, not by becoming specialized for one perfect environment, but by becoming adaptable to any environment. "We have been wrong about everything," Veltar said quietly. "We thought wisdom came from age and stability. But perhaps true wisdom comes from learning to thrive in chaos." Captain Subin nodded. "Every species develops differently, Ambassador. You became wise through stability. We became adaptable through constant challenge. Both paths have value, but your path," added Science Minister Kothron, "allows you to go anywhere, do anything, survive everything. You are not just another species in the galaxy. You are something new." As the stars appeared in the alien sky above them, the observers began to understand that they were not just watching a technology demonstration. They were witnessing the emergence of a new type of sapient life, one that could make any world habitable, any challenge solvable, any impossible dream achievable. Humans called it adaptability. The aliens were beginning to call it something else entirely: hope. On the third day, ships from across the galaxy arrived to see the impossible colony. Admiral Hong Jae-hwan commanded the human fleet that brought more colonists and supplies. With him came Dr. Sim Kyung-min, who specialized in making hostile worlds livable, Chief Engineer Ryu Han-yul, who built things that lasted forever, and Coordinator John Mi-kyung, who helped different species work together. The alien ships filled the sky above Kepler 442c. Hundreds of vessels from dozens of worlds, all coming to witness what should have been impossible. The space around the planet looked like a gathering of the entire galaxy. On the surface, the human colony had grown into a real settlement. Clean buildings made from local materials stood where only poisonous rock had been before. Gardens full of earth plants thrived in the toxic soil. Workshops hummed with activity as humans and aliens worked together on new projects. Admiral Hong stood in the colony's center, watching beings from dozens of different worlds live and work together in perfect harmony. Crystalline Kalari worked beside insect-like Thraxians. Floating Vortha shared tools with snake-like Zillanthans, all of them breathing the same deadly air, all of them comfortable in the crushing gravity. "Magnificent," said Grand Marshal Vexithala of the Galactic Defense Forces. She was a being of living metal who had seen 1,000 worlds in her military career. "In 3 days, you have achieved what we believed would take decades." "The hard part wasn't building the colony," replied Dr. Sim Kyung-min. "The hard part was convincing everyone it could be done." Ambassador Veltar approached the human leaders. His crystal body now glowed with health and energy absorbed from the planet's extreme conditions. "Admiral Hong, we must know, are all humans like this?" "Like what?" Hong asked. "Able to make the impossible look easy." Hong laughed. "Ambassador, this isn't even one of our harder projects. Wait until you see what we do with really challenging worlds." The alien leaders looked at each other with amazement and worry. If this was easy for humans, what did difficult look like? "We need to conduct one final test," announced Science Minister Kothron, "to truly understand your capabilities." "What kind of test?" asked Chief Engineer Ryu Han-yul. "Turn off your device." The words created instant silence. Every conversation stopped. Every alien looked terrified. Turn off the adaptation device and show us what happens when humans face this world with no technological help at all. Dr. Lim Jae-seok stepped forward, holding the simple metal tube that had made everything possible. Are you certain, Minister? Without the device, this world returns to its natural state. That is what we need to see, Veltar said firmly. We need to know if humans truly can do the impossible, or if you simply have very good technology. The alien observers moved back to what they thought was a safe distance. They activated their emergency protective systems and prepared for disaster. Many expected to see the humans die horribly when their device stopped working. Dr. Jae-seok looked around at his fellow humans. They all nodded calmly. Shutting down the adaptation field, he announced. He pressed the button. The device stopped humming. The faint shimmer in the air disappeared. The alien observers held their breath, waiting for catastrophe. Nothing happened. The humans continued working. They breathed the poisonous air without difficulty. They moved easily in the crushing gravity. They worked comfortably in the deadly heat. The only difference was that the aliens could no longer survive without their protective suits. Impossible, whispered Grand Marshal Vexathala. You should be dead. Colony Director No Yoonji smiled as she tended to a garden of earth plants that were thriving in methane-rich soil. Marshal, the device didn't change us. It changed you. What do you mean? Our bodies use the adaptation period to trigger permanent, evolutionary responses, explained Dr. Han Ye-rim. We essentially evolved in real time to thrive in this environment. The device helped your bodies do the same thing temporarily. Engineer Park Do-young continued assembling a communications tower using local materials. This is how humans work. We adapt to new environments permanently. Once we learn to live somewhere, we can live there forever. The alien observers realized they were witnessing something beyond their understanding. The humans had not just survived. On the impossible world, they had made it their new home in 3 days. Your species, said Lieutenant Commander Zeeth in wonder. You don't just visit new worlds. You become part of them. Every world has potential, replied Admiral Hong. No place is truly impossible for life. You just have to understand how life wants to work there. As if to prove the point, more human ships arrived carrying families with children. Young humans ran and played in the volcanic fields, laughing as they splashed in pools of liquid methane. To them, this deadly world was just another playground. Children, gasped Dr. Xylantha. You brought children to this death world. They're safer here than in most places, said Coordinator John McYoung, watching the young humans play. Human children learn adaptability from birth. New environments help them grow stronger and smarter. The final moment of revelation came when the youngest colonist, a human girl no more than 8 years old, walked up to Ambassador Veltar. She was breathing the poisonous air and moving easily in the crushing gravity. In her hand, she held a flower she had picked from one of the earth gardens. This is for you, she said simply, offering the flower to the crystal being. Welcome to our new home. Veltar took the flower with shaking hands. A child, a mere child, was thriving in conditions that would kill most adult aliens instantly, and she was offering him a gift, welcoming him to a world that had been considered uninhabitable just days before. We owe your species more than an apology, Veltar said finally. We owe you our respect, our gratitude, and our friendship. Admiral Hong bowed respectfully. Thank you, Ambassador. But we don't need apologies. We just want to share what we've learned. What have you learned? Asked Grand Marshal Vexathala. That impossible is just another word for not yet figured out, replied Fleet Admiral Song Min-jae, who had just arrived with the final wave of colonists. Humans don't believe in things that can't be done. We believe in things we haven't learned how to do yet. The ceremony to officially recognize the colony took place as the planet's 3 moons rose in the toxic sky. Representatives from every major species in the galaxy gathered to witness the signing of the Kepler Accords. By these accords, announced the Galactic Council President, humanity is officially recognized as the galaxy's first adaptive specialist civilization. Human colonies may be established on any world, no matter how hostile, and all species are invited to join them. The signing was broadcast across the galaxy. Trillions of beings watched as the flag of Earth was raised next to the flags of the galaxy's oldest and most respected civilizations. But the most important moment came when young human colonists began teaching alien children how to play games in the volcanic fields. Different species from different worlds playing together on a planet that should have killed them all. "This is how it begins," said Dr. Kang Hyejin, who had come to see the ceremony. "Not with conquest or competition, but with children playing together." Admiral Hong watched the mixed species families settling into their new homes. Every world the humans touch becomes a place where anyone can live. We're not just expanding human territory, we're expanding the possibilities for all life. As the celebration continued into the night, Ambassador Veltar approached Li Deho, the engineer who had started everything with his simple demonstration. "Deho," Veltar said, "I have learned something important in these 3 days." "What's that, Ambassador?" "Never tell a human something cannot be done," Deho smiled. "Why not?" "Because you'll take it as a challenge, and I have yet to see a challenge that humans cannot eventually overcome." Above them, the stars shone down on the impossible world that had become home to dozens of species working together. In the distance, more human ships approached, carrying colonists bound for other impossible worlds throughout the galaxy. The age of limitations was over. The age of human adaptability had begun, and across the galaxy, on worlds that had been written off as uninhabitable, new colonies were already being planned. Because when humans heard "you can't do that," they heard something entirely different. They heard "challenge accepted."